Okay, sure. That's great. We'll go ahead and call to order the Public Assembly Facilities Commission, March 15th, 2021. Due to the governor's order, all members of the Public Assembly Facilities Commission are participating virtually. For virtual meetings, the commission members will be muted until asked to be heard. At that time, they will be recognized and will be unmuted. When there's a vote, it will be necessary to take a roll call. A commission member will be recognized and will either raise their hand and state their vote. Today's meeting is a public meeting per the notice posted on the March 12th, 2021. Citizens can listen to the meeting if they contacted the city manager's office to make necessary arrangements. Meetings will also be live streamed on the city's YouTube channel, which can be accessed at the www.cityofwinston-salem.org. 2682 video. Recording of today's meeting will be available by Friday, March 19th, 2021 on the city's website. Okay, so I think pulling up the documents, I think the first item on the agenda is a review and approval of the minutes from the February 15th meeting.
I'll do a quick roll call real quick first.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Haley says she won't be here. Otis Northington.
Here.
Billy Rich.
Here.
Jim Rose is not with us. Manya. I see you there. Kathleen Garber is not on. Vicki Miller, not on. Lisa Strout.
Here.
And then Ray Bowden is not on yet. Thank you.
Did you count me?
Yes, I got you, Manya.
Okay.
And we do not have quorum, so we won't be able to officially vote on the minutes for the next item.
Okay. Then we'll skip the minutes for now and we'll move to staff updates, I believe.
Okay, good afternoon, members of the Public Assembly Facility Commission. Just wanted to give you an update on progress with the Bowman Gray Stadium Improvements Project. Right now, the east side restroom and concession stands are well underway. We've got 4 walls and a roof, and they're actually in the process of installing the fixtures in the restroom. We have ordered the equipment for the concession stand. So both of those buildings, I think, are on schedule to be completed. They won't be completed right by the beginning of racing season, particularly the east side concession stand, but it'll be very shortly after the season starts. So with that in mind, we're going to be operating stand 2, which is the one that's on the south end of the bowl, to make sure that we have enough concession capacity going into the season. The west side concession stand and restrooms are coming up out of the ground. So the foundation work is underway. I think they're in the process of doing some of what they call rough ends for the plumbing. So I think we're very pleased with the progress there. If you look at the football field, they've completed the rough regrading of the field. And if I had a picture to share with you, they left a little segment in the middle of that field to show how much of the field they've peeled off, and it's significant. It's really kind of amazing how much the field had built up. So that's well underway. The drainage work around the track is in place, and so probably what we're looking at is installing sod probably sometime in early April. Bowman Gray Racing practices start towards the end of this month. We're going to let that get underway, and then probably the 1st of April install the sod so that can start to take root and grow. Let's see here. So those are really the significant elements of the project that are underway. They're also working on the utilities upgrades. That's in progress. And then here very shortly, they'll also be working on repaving the concourse, kind of buttoning up everything since they made a lot of cuts, to install the new utilities. So we're pleased with the progress and looking forward to seeing these buildings continue to come up out of the ground. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions on the Bowman Gray improvements? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to status of the fairgrounds.
Actually, Otis, we did have Kathleen and Ray join in, and so we do have quorum, so we could go back up to the minutes.
Sure, absolutely. So the minutes were attached in the package sent out from Rachel. Are there any comments on the minutes? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to approve the February 15th minutes?
I move for approval of the minutes.
Thank you, Billy. Do we have a second?
Second.
Rachel, did you get who the second was?
Yeah, it was Ray and Lisa battled it out for a second. And I'll go ahead and do a roll call to get it approved.
Okay.
Billy,
Yes.
Manya,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Otis,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
and Kat. Kat, you're muted, but I saw you shake your head, so I'll count that. All right, thank you, Otis. You can move on to the preparations for Bowman Gray now.
Okay, great. Okay.
Yeah, Otis, thank you.
yeah.
I'll just jump in and kind of go over the preparations for the Bowman Gray race season. So as of now, staff is planning full steam ahead, working with Frank L. Bloom and the racing group to ensure if everyone's ready and willing to open for that first race, which I believe is April 17th, that we'll be ready. Under the current guidelines, we can race with 30% capacity. Understanding that it's a general admission facility, we're working with racing on how to create some kind of assigned seating aspect to the facility. So we'll be working through that in the next couple of weeks on how to make that work. We've been going through all our regular preseason checklists internally with staff, and then merging those with what Frank L. Bloom is working on with the construction project. The last 2 weekends, racing's had 2 photo days, so they're running as if they're planning as if they're going to race April 17th at this time. And then their first practice will be March 27th from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at the stadium. So that's kind of the update on as we prepare and where we're at this point at Bowman Gray.
Okay, thank you. Any questions regarding the opening of racing? Okay, back to you.
All right, thank you, Otis. I'll go through some of the fairgrounds operation and where we're looking at with upcoming events. As you know, we've been a vaccine site since January and at least through May 31st, and it's possible that's going to get extended longer. This past weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the health department with Novant and Wake Forest Baptist vaccinated 9,000 folks with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. That's the biggest weekend to date. And from what I hear, everything went off just fine. There were no issues, and they continued vaccinations this morning. So that's going to go at least now through May 31st, possibly extending longer. As far as the ice rink goes, I think we've got maybe one public skating session left as we're going to take out ice after this weekend. We are hosting the ACC Hockey Championships this weekend, the 19th, 20th, and 21st. It's kind of a hybrid model since a lot of the ACC hockey schools are out or did not play this year. Wake is not participating. Duke was not participating. North Carolina was not participating. So we've got East Carolina coming. We have University of Florida coming, University of Tennessee. So some other big name schools, while they're not in the ACC, they were extended an invite and they'll participate in the tournament. And we will, based on the latest governor's order, we will host 250 fans per game. And hopefully we'll fill some of those games up. And that'll be the end of our ice season. So we've actually had a pretty good year. I think when we meet next month, we'll come back to you with the public skating numbers. While they are down in general, I think for the most part, we did very well with the capacity limits we were given. There was a good amount between December and January, February, where we were at capacity almost every session. So we've slowed down now, and ice will come out, and the Thunderbirds are playing the rest of their season on the road. They've played all their season on the road, and will continue to do so. Once ice comes out, we will host the North Carolina Junior Olympic Archery Tournament the following weekend, March 26th. We'll have some potential Olympic athletes in the archery field participating in the annex to qualify for the next step in their field, wherever that leads them. So that'll be a pretty neat event for us. And then after that, we're kind of still working through what future events and trade shows might look like for us. But I think that's about it. Any questions on Fairgrounds operations, let me know.
Thanks. On a personal note, my daughter and wife volunteered at the Children's Home, and they went out last week and got a shot at the fairgrounds and said it was really a smooth operation. So thanks for everybody who was involved in that.
Thanks, Otis.
Yeah. Next is the Benton.
Okay. The Benton is slated to have an event in April. We're going to do another dance group. So once we get that one going, we can do up to 250 people or 30% in our spaces. So right now, the only group that we have on the books is for April is Tremaine Dance. And then we have a wedding in May, and still have one other group that's considering coming here, or two other groups considering coming here in May. So we're still working through the trade show piece of all that, and have a meeting this week with Mr. Rao and the team to discuss how we're going to do that safely. Any questions on the Benton?
I have just a general. You talked about when we'll have fans at the race car and talking about trying to figure out something with designated seating, but obviously you don't have a designated seating when you have 250 people at a wedding event. So, I mean, how strictly will the state enforce some type of designated seating requirements? I mean, people come as family groups, and then, you know, I just, what responsibility does the facility have for that designated seating, if any?
Grant, you want to take that?
Well, the executive order for here, it doesn't say that they have to have designated seating. That was just for the racetrack, or the like Bowman Gray Stadium or any of the stadiums, and the orders that was written for them. Here, you know, we're still just doing social distancing tables, so it's rounds of 4, unless it is a wedding and they are going to do assigned seats, then we would allow them to put a family at a table, which could be more than 4.
I understand on the thing. I mean, what kind of enforcement requirements are our facilities and Grant for the Benton or at the racetrack, are we responsible for, you know, enforcing that distancing, especially if you have designated seating at the track? So I just didn't know if we have any responsibility or not, or just tell them what to do and they do it or not.
So I'll respond to that, and Robert, you can add. So as Robert mentioned, we are working with Winston-Salem Speedway Inc. for how the layout of the stadium would look, and part of that is really establishing assigned seating, so there would be space around kind of right now be kind of clusters of seats, maybe groups of 2 and 4. So if people come into the stadium, they would have to either sit in a group of 2 or 4, and there would be spacing around those seats. Under our lease agreement with Winston-Salem Speedway, they are responsible for ticketing and basically, managing the stadium. And so I think the understanding is that they would be, monitoring, that. Part of the governor's executive order, the most recent one, also notes that for venues the size of Bowman Gray Stadium, that there can't be any congregating. And so monitoring the concourse will be something that they will be responsible for. They already hire off-duty law enforcement to manage inside the bowl, and they understand that that would be part of their responsibility to ensure the traffic flow and to prevent any kind of congregating on the concourse. So I mean, it's a partnership, but per the lease agreement, they would be responsible for managing the crowd and the ticketing.
Gotcha. That's a tough job. Thanks.
Yep.
I have a question. As a governmental buildings, will we require people to wear masks?
Yes, we will have signage throughout the facility to make it clear that, the mask requirement still is in effect. And so that would be the expectation. The only time that someone doesn't have to wear a mask is when they're eating or drinking. And so that would be, the city's expectation. Any other questions?
Okay, Ben, I think you're up for the Grand Pavilion.
Okay, so just an brief update on the Grand Pavilion lease, as well as the project. At the beginning of the month, at the first meeting of the council, they held a public hearing and approved the amendment to the lease agreement for the Grand Pavilion Conference Center with PM Meeting Venue LLC, which is associated with the ownership of the Embassy Suites. So we're in the process of finalizing the actual language of that agreement and working to get that executed by the end of the month. But we're already talking about the transition. I think one of the important items that we're needing to move quickly on is actually transitioning all the bookings that are on their reservation system for the Grand Pavilion Conference Center onto the system that HVMG uses to manage the Benton and the Marriott. And so hopefully we can very soon get that done. But then we're going to be working with the ownership on the sharing of expenses, because we know that there's certain systems that are shared by the Embassy Suites Hotel and the Grand Pavilion that we're not going to be able to physically separate it. So we're going to have to work through some way of some basis for sharing in those expenses. So that's I think progressing. As far as the project goes, the city project team has held a couple of meetings with our interior designer, Hayden Design, which is a local interior design firm. And I think we're very close to having specifications ready so that we can bid out the project. We've selected some carpet, and we've got a kind of a palette for that space. And so that's something that I hope to share with the commission here probably in April, so that you can see kind of the vision that is being developed for the Grand Pavilion and Conference Center space. So the hope is that we'll be able to put this out to bid probably towards the end of the month or the 1st of April. What we're ultimately shooting for is to have the project completed by Labor Day. That's when the conference and convention season really kicks up, and we want to make sure that our space is online and available so we can really start booking in the season. So that's kind of where we are. And like I said, I hope to share with you some images, some renderings of what the space looks like. I think we're excited about it. Part of the goal here is to tie that space into the Benton and really design it in such a way that someone who's literally leaving the Benton, going under the tunnel there over into the Grand Pavilion, that they'll still feel like they're still in the Benton. We really want it to have that feel of being one facility. So we're very excited about that.
Gotcha. Thanks, Ben. Seen that in the paper. Any questions for Ben? Okay. On to the baseball stadium.
And finally, I just wanted to update the commission again, just on the status of the lease agreement. The council did approve a new lease agreement with the Winston-Salem Dash back in February, held a public hearing per state statute, and we're in the process of getting that lease agreement finalized, and hope to have that executed very soon. And so city staff, we've been working with the Dash on kind of the preseason checklist of facility maintenance needs that need to be addressed as they look towards an early May opening day. And so so I just wanted to kind of bring closure to that for you all as far as kind of where that stands.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, and Otis, we did skip over the Carolina Classic Fair update, and I believe Karen did that today.
I'm sorry.
No worries.
Good afternoon, everybody. I just wanted to let everybody know that we are still working on our website and have made some improvements to that and look to be able to get that out for everybody to see very soon. The only other major update would be that we have contracted with Color Me Bad to perform on Monday, October 4th in the grandstand. I don't know, Robert, if you want to speak any more to that.
Yeah, it would be, it'll be Color Me Bad and Tag Team. So they'll play their new #1 hit, Scoop There It Is, from the Geico commercials. But yeah, they'll be, I think that's Monday night in partnership with QMG. We're still working on that partnership. But that's the first of our acts to be confirmed for the 2021 fair.
That's fine. Apologize for skipping that up. Move that over. Anything else to add on the Carolina Classic?
I want a question. I forgot. Did I miss it? Are we going to do it virtually? Are we aiming to do it virtually, or are we looking at in person now?
Full
For the
open,
fair.
I think.
I'm sorry.
We're currently looking to have it in person.
Okay.
Anything else?
Okay. I don't see anything else unless there's some additional business from the members or from staff. Okay. With that, thank you for your time today, and we're adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.